click live, it's going to take a couple of minutes. So
oh, no worries, man. No worries at all. I'll try and share it on.
I can actually. Let me see. Hang on. Let me.
You're at mission control as usual.
Yeah. Let me. I'm in the space module. Okay, I'm going to tag you. How's that?
That works, man.
Hang on. Let me just edit and tag. Okay, there you go. Yeah, boom.
Smoking hot here, man.
Where are you at?
In Calgary still.
Calgary.
Calgary.
Right on, man. 13 people in the house. Neil Devaney's in the house. Long time no see.
Yes, sirree.
You're going to see what's going on in the front line of the apocalypse, man.
Perfect. I can see New Earth from the backyard here.
I think we're standing in it. I don't know how this shit works, but
for sure, man. Little bubbles of New Earth wherever you go.
Yeah. I got that download about 10 days ago, what you said earlier, that it's already been done. And I've heard people say that. And of course, I understand that in the energetic field, things occur first. That's I'm a believer, you know. That's why I think thoughts are the most important thing we have going for us, or the worst, depending on how we're doing with it. But yeah, I got that. I was, and I told this story a couple of times, but I was researching on YouTube about 10 nights ago as I'm trying to process all this energy that's coming through for everybody. And so what happened was I queried light language just for shits and grins. I queried light language on YouTube, and like 1,000 channels popped up. And in that moment, I understood, I received that, hey, you guys have done this. And here's an example. There's 1,000 people. I started looking at the dates. All the channels and all the videos were from a week or a day to a year old. So there was this, and it's not so much about, well, it is. It's huge for people to go out and share that and push past the fear and record themselves doing something that's not normal, right? Like they're shining their soul. But the transmission itself was showing me more the nuts and bolts of the work that we've all done. And it was saying, hey, look, 10 years ago, how many would you have found? 5 years ago, how many would you have found? A year ago, how many would you have found? And look at all the ones you're finding now. Well, extrapolate that out. And then also other aspects of this transition that we call ascension. So, yeah, I totally agree with you. And so where does that leave us? We've done the work. It's done. Now we're standing here embodying this multidimensionality. All of our methods of communication and connection, labels, everything's been shattered. It's all being rebuilt. I don't know. All you can do is all you can do. You know, you show up, you insert yourself into the field, which is what we've all done. We all showed up. And you do your best. I don't know. Neil Devaney's back on Soul Speaks 5D.
Long time no pleasure. See. Oh yeah, man, too long. Yeah, but perfect timing. Really happy to be on here with you, Todd.
Right on, man.
And with everybody out there, and you know, your lead in was just perfect. And yeah, no, it's happened. So you said, what do we do? We enjoy it. We enjoy it, and you know the routine. It's no dragging anybody, kicking and screaming. It's really a choice, and you know, let's enjoy it, build it, co-create it, and you know, there's literally a decision point at this point, and I really would like to cover a lot today. Whatever time you have, Todd.
Dude, I'm open. I'm in such a state of scheduling, non-scheduling. It's
perfect.
It's been crazy, but anyway. So as things have it, you know, I just want to say first too. Last night, maybe it was a culmination. I don't know. I don't know all these dates. Seems like every day is a Stargate. I mean, or eclipse or. But I noticed somebody wrote it on. I just went on solo just for about 20 minutes, and I noticed somebody concurred I went through a process last night of slow, soft. Wow, I don't even know how to explain it. I cried a lot. It was amazing. It was amazing. If I look back at it, and I can barely remember because I felt like I was out of my body.
Mm-hmm.
If I look back at it, it feels like an experience that if I'd have gone through it even 3 months ago, I would be on my back today. I would be, my eyes would be closed shut from swelling, from crying. I mean, so there was, and so somebody said that as well on the comments last time. But yeah, so there is, Shaz just said the same thing. We don't have anything else scheduled, period. I just woke up today knowing that it was a big day. I jumped on, which I haven't been done much of in a long time, and just shared what I knew. And you're lined up today, and there's no other shows lined up, so we can go 2-3 hours. I don't care.
Perfect. Whatever you want to do, man. Yeah, that's perfect.
Let's cover everything you want to cover.
Well, everything you want to cover, and I think it's so important right now. And as far as what you just said, Todd, regarding this, last night being tough, and for me, I've been just really energized the last quite a while. But I sense there's probably a whole lot of relief, and there's a whole lot of perhaps, I know myself, you go through kind of maybe this release of like a bit of sadness and sorrow regarding what was that whole thing, and what does this mean now? I think I moved quite some time ago way beyond the point of attempting to save anybody or whatever. It's really a personal journey, and everyone has their sovereign right to believe and feel and experience whatever they choose to. And I'm definitely with that plan. So it's literally a frequency thing. And I know everybody's really talking about right now, united, coming together. I'm visualizing the whole planet, and that is like, we can really, really create this dream from our own personal dream to the whole thing. And this is it, man. Like, it may not seem like it sometimes when there's the visuals of something. Like, I'm in a big city. I got to tell you, man, like, there's hardly any people here. It's outrageously empty.
Is that right?
Oh yeah, man. No, like, supposedly a city of 1.2 million or whatever million people. No, no way.
I've seen more than one article. I saw one the other day. I believe it was about Chicago, and I can't recall that they were having massive lockdowns, but they must have had some degree. But anyway, they were saying how people had moved out of the city, like in this COVID period. They'd moved out of the city to such a degree that it was a marked notice. Is that what you're?
No, I'll give you a different angle on it. I just literally think the whole hologram, or whatever you want to call it, this, again, what we experience as physicality has shifted immensely. And, I do want to get into later on, whatever, the AI aspect, and it could be background characters, very much a frequency-based, like a multiplex theater where literally people physically have gone to different theaters.
I got you.
And, and it's not, when I'm out there, it's not like everything's sunshine and lollipops, but it's definitely not bad. It's just really weird. Like, there's no lockdown here, and there's definitely this, as far as this whole COVID thing, I believe it was majorly, a lot of reasons, and really don't want to get into all those reasons, but definitely it was about covering up the fact that literally a whole bunch of people disappeared. And where they went, well, we probably disappeared from many's reality, and they disappeared from ours. And that is all, in my opinion, frequency based. And as well, the component of, if you, because I know that was something that a lot of people aren't clear on, whether or not there's an AI, artificial intelligent matrix, and what does that mean? And are there, let's call them non-player characters or background characters within this it's almost like a virtual reality game in a way. You could put that comparison without sounding, I want to make this very clear. I'll never, ever be judgmental or anything regarding that, or any sort of separation. It's very much, again, an individual experience and what you can gather. And I sense that I wanted to bring it up. We can bring it up now and just get it over with, is the, this AI matrix aspect of, a lot of people are of the opinion, hey, it's our reflection. It's our shadow being projected back. I don't believe that. I, number one, believe that at some point there was a requirement of a loosh machine, if you want to call it, something that certain entities needed to feed on. Okay. And that is the matrix. So if a person can't start off with that baseline, then it's very difficult to see why it existed. And the bottom line is that we are stepping out of that. The most abhorrent thing to me is to be looshed upon in any respect. And so I guess what I'm saying is, I think it's important, because a lot of people don't want to look at that stuff. They think, that's polarity, that's separation, that's duality. No, it's actually discernment and knowing, at least in my feelings, that it exists. And it's still, a lot of this stuff regarding COVID and people getting vaccines and basically frequency fences within their own bodies. And the fear involved with that basically pulls them back into that matrix. So no one can do anything for that. A person has to decide that's not their experience that they choose, right? So anyways, I'll shut up.
No, that's good. I mean, you brought up several things. I'm just looking for one to hook on. Well, one, okay, so I think this is understood. We can look at a lot of ways to describe this. If you look at Franco Di Nicola's intel, there's other people's intel that follows suit, which includes not just people that connect and transmit what they connect from their higher aspects, but also from anthropologists, other types of we're talking archaeology and so on and so on. And what I'm talking about is a period of time, we can call it the deluge, but 10 or 15,000 years ago, everything shifted dramatically. If you look at Franco's intel, that's when the inverted matrix was brought in, and the moon was positioned to play its role to transmit the facade, so to speak, and control. Mechanisms, waves, energy, frequencies.
It has a whole lot to do with time. Saturn.
Absolutely.
And it's not like the planet Saturn's bad. It's that particular entity, Saturn, God, whatever, low, small case G, it was involved with. That was its job, was to transmit reality, like almost like a projection system of some sort.
Absolutely.
And definitely, folks that kind of knew how to program it, and very much involved with time perception. It was very much this thing, at least from what I'm able to gather, it's just about our perception and frequency. Very high, you're experiencing it.
No, I'm just saying, I mean, this is, I mean, that's the whole game, right? Is really the power of suggestion. Be it verbal or be it something's put in front of you, like a subliminal ad or whatever the case is. But what I just want to put that to bed, if you go back to the 40s, Nag Hammadi, Dead Sea Scrolls, and 20-30% of that text describes the archonic situation, delusion. So we know now we've reached this point. And if you look back the last couple of years, you go back to like late 2019, early 2019, you saw a lot of people's transmissions, and these are all metaphoric in my mind. Just makes it easier.
Todd. That's the way we can describe it. Yeah.
Right. So they talked about how their transmissions was the reptilians have been the quarantine's over, the reptilians have been pushed out of the realm, and many, many other things. Franco's intel would say in January of 2020 that the projection of the inverted matrix was turned off, which means that it's only playing in our egoic minds and so on, and being fortified or projected at a much lower degree by those who have been pushing buttons. And also, I'll just add that the moon was converted, no longer being utilized in the way it was, but to enhance the energies that are coming on. Now, I'm not getting religious, and I'm not advocating. I'm just putting stuff on the table. But anyway, so that fast forward, that brings us through 2020. Everybody goes into isolation. That's not just a physical thing. That was an energetic stroke of genius by us to create an energy field of self-introspection and therefore self-growth. And now here we are halfway through 2021, and 2021's felt like it's been like 100 years. And massive evidence, physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, light body, everything's just like in the field. What do we do now?
Well, just talk about 2020 for a change. Not that I want to look back or anything, because it's all about being in the moment, right? Without being cliche. Yeah, being in the moment, being in the now. But 2020 was a motherfucker, man. That was weird shit. Definitely weird shit for me. And I know, without getting into too much detail, I went through a whole lot of clearing and whatever. I call it the lost dragon I had to slay, man, and it pretty much killed me if it didn't. It come pretty close, and I come out of that in 2020 was a write-off for me. Pretty wild, very weird without getting into all the details. But needless to say, that needed to, like you say, that opportunity of clearing whatever was remaining was there, and it was beneficial looking back. But during it was again in a city. It's not to stress that too much, but it's weird, man. When you're used to a whole bunch of activity and people around, and that maybe comparing it if you're out a little bit off grid or in a smaller area, you don't notice as much. It's like,
when you explained that a minute ago, now that you're talking about it again, how there's a lot of things, especially now. Somebody can say something to you and like the words may not fit, but I get it. Like you align with it, you resonate, you understand energetically what you're saying. And I want to go back to that because I hadn't thought about that. And that's an interesting thing. And again, to put as many points of context in the field of consciousness as we embody this and as we work through this with our human aspect on point, and so I really appreciate this. So I hadn't thought about. So what you're saying is there's a possibility here that many people have checked out, and this has been a result of the ascension, and that the powerless powers that be are aware of this, and they're trying to hide it, basically.
Well, and I'll build on that. Absolutely.
Very interesting.
No, me too, Todd. It's definitely huge right now. I believe all the whatever, let's call them the assholes, have left the building a long time, and it's literally being kept alive through media, artificial intelligence, green screens. You can plaster faces on any but actors. This narrative of that, business as usual. They're trying to maintain it, whoever they are. Like where from, I don't know, but like it's really laughable. It is. Man.
You're bringing up a great point. I'm really glad you're going to kind of dive into this and explain.
We're going to go all the way, man.
Yeah, but I got to tell you, I saw a perfect example of this. Like I said, I've been. Morgan's in Australia. I've been spending a lot of time alone. I'm spending a lot of time on YouTube researching, looking for things. And I came across this. It was Joe Biden. And of course it could be anyone. Neil, I'm not picking on Joe Biden, but I mean, this is a perfect example of what you said. And it was about a week ago. and he was giving a speech, and the speech was not State of the Union, but it was a pretty big speech, and they put it on YouTube, and only 10,000 people watched it, which is extremely low. And not only that, but and I saw this like an hour after it happened. There was, I want to say, several hundred likes, and there was like 4,000 dislikes. So I went, whoa, that's not going to be up there long. And it wasn't. But yeah, to your point, green screens, studios, digital modification or presentation. It's basically the archonic energy, but like you said, it's gone. It's being perpetuated by, let's say, those in the human skin suit that have been in a position of control. But it's the same thing, because the archonic thing was the archonic fourth dimensional energy could not create. We create. It can only present distortion, and that's exactly what you're describing, but it's actually in the flesh, in our physical, to the nth degree.
No, absolutely, Todd. It's I'll just say this: it does still exist, but it's not in the, let's call it, the 5D frequencies, that higher timeline frequency line space, but it still exists. If your frequency drops, you're gonna be in it again. We bounce in and out based on that, from my experience. But but yeah, absolutely. And that's the whole plan, is to literally, not to be too whatever. I'll just say it, like, the AI, or is the all-seeing eye. That's what that is. That's what they worship, is AI. And I know we dropped this along, we talked about it a while back, or kind of.
We can talk about it again.
For sure. No, absolutely.
I have no problem with it.
No, you kind of said, well, AI is, kind of like that motorbike's AI or whatever. It was not so much that I was referring to. It was like this whole structure, this matrix thing, is AI. And what is what's the exit route? Frequency. It seems to be, if we're in that balanced heart space with our balanced mind, the hemispheres, that in the moment, very little thought, there is no mind control. And that seems to be the interface of the, let's call it the matrix, and we bypass it through that rewiring, and it's all good. It's, that is, I think, is the way forward, is to help folks establish that and know that is possible, doable. It is up to us to make that decision, to do the work to stabilize and build our frequency, establish that, call it silent mind, and you're no longer affected by any of the shite. There's still attempt, whatever, 5G. I live in a smart city, supposedly. Melbourne's another one. They loaded the place up with it during the lockdown. It was unreal. You come out, what in the fuck are all those things on the buildings? They got this ski jump out at, they call it COP, Canada Olympic Park. You look at it, and it's plastered with these things. What? Where did that come from? But it's doesn't affect a person if they're in that space, and but there's definitely still attempts, and again, this isn't to be judgmental or pick on anybody. I again live in a city. I got a job, man.
Oh my God, a light worker got a job. This is we're all going to hell in a handbasket.
Oh yeah, no, I'll tell you all about it. But yeah,
I was thinking about that last night. I thought, you know what? I was at a point last night. I was like, through my it was a metamorphosis. I'll put it that way. But anyway, while I was in the cocoon stage, I was like, fuck this. Nothing matters. I'm just shutting it down. I'm going to shut it down, and I'm going to go up the road and get a job. Be careful what you ask for. No, I don't want to do that, universe. I'm just alt, control, delete what I just said. But
Soulogy, new network, new earth. It's all coming down now. It was just a little early, so everything's lining up now, Todd. Everything's cool. stick with it. But anyways, with the job thing, I take the train downtown, and hey, in this city they basically had these whatever stupid mask things mandated up until, I don't know, the beginning of this month, and it's so crazy. I never wore one. When I started my job, I had to, just to get in the building, and I was lucky. I found one just by, I think it was the gods gifted it to me. It was a nice bright red one with a nice lightning bolt on it, so it was just really loud and proud and looked like a pair of panties. But anyways,
that's another story.
That's another story. But
that was going to be my thing. If there was a forced mask mandate, I'm just going to put a pair of panties on my face.
Well, for sure, man. Why not?
Yeah.
But you see the mind control and whatever it is, fear. And I don't even see them anymore. I don't even look. I just I get on that train, and they're still doing it now. But you look on it, and everybody, like, it's just, and it doesn't matter. That isn't my point. It's just, there's definitely seems to be a portion of whatever folks remaining that are very much in a different consciousness. And it's not separation here, man. It's just literally there's no sort of anything there, communication. It's
what
noise, man.
Yeah, what you're referring to isn't separation. You talked about it earlier. You're saying, like, for instance, opening to the possibility and probability that people have left. That's not
time.
Separation. That's just leaving.
Oh yeah, I know it to be true.
And here's another thing too, which I like to hear where you're going with this, because it's like, so as a lot of people know, we got a download in March. Morgan needs to go to Australia. Lots of things attached to that, from the human level to the mission level to so many things. But front and center to me is the continued disappearance or fading away of time, but also this is presented the removal of space, because this realm does have a matrix, and that's not a bad word. Let's just say the matrix got altered, but that operating system has been replaced with, let's just say, the original blueprint, the original operating system. But there's still this transition that we're going through. And are we here, let me ask you this. Are we feeling the alignment and dealing with the reactions that we've had from our past conditioning? In other words, I got to go out and do something. I got to go make this happen. I got to go save somebody. Are we just feeling the alignment, and we just need to shut the F up and get out of the way and just let it happen?
Pretty much at this point, like anything, I guess we want to share what our truths are, and that's, some resonate, some doesn't, and that's just fine. But yeah, as far as what I'm sensing is very much, this is where we begin to really seriously live our dreams, our own individual personal heaven, and very much shared, and it's very much a resonance thing, and all of the stuff we talked about, what, year and a half ago, that I remember August of 2019 was when I first talked with you, Todd, and it was, I felt it then, but it's something kind of come in there. 2020 kind of put a little bit of a kibosh on things for a while, and I was a bit, whatever, I was a bit worried. And yeah, it all, again, looking back, it all served its purpose. And now it's just even stronger, because I sense that everybody is really becoming clear and very much remembering and empowering and knowing what is so important, and really being authentic.
There seems to be a level of cruise control involved, and we've been talking about this in the last week, which is what you just brought up, the clarity.
Yeah.
Like
big
the
time.
clarity been building, like everything else has been expanding one step at a time, but it's reached like 2021's like everything's just been like, I want to say since mid-May, like somebody just opened up Pandora's box, like it just boom.
Perfect description. Yeah.
So you have we kind of been talking about this the last week, like you have, especially you with having a, let's just call it a 3D job, no judgment, but I mean, let's just say
It's actually not a 3D job.
there you go.
It's
See,
weird.
this is
Yeah,
what
it's weird.
this is what I'm talking about. So you have all of this multidimensionality, the memory, code, everything coming on full blast.
Mhm.
The humans embodying it, which is so much, right?
Yeah.
So many.
Yeah.
And then you're going out and having to connect with people, communicate people, and function. So you're speaking from, in my opinion, the highest point of wisdom, which you're actually doing this every day. What is that like? You said that it isn't 3D.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. It was a great opportunity. I lucked out. I was pretty much, I'll just say it, I was pretty much fucked coming out of 2020, and in March was kind of when everything kind of
yeah, March was the move, man. March was the kicker. March was like somebody kicked the Harley on, right?
pretty much.
And then by mid-May, we're popping wheelies at 88 miles an hour, right?
Absolutely. You know what I mean? 89, just started breaking the 88s, man. But anyways, I lucked out and got this position with it's a college, private college, and they're into visual art and design, very much focused on like things like the animation, game design, interior design, fashion design. What else?
Wow, that's cool.
Architecture. And it's really cool in that it's kind of I enroll students, and it's a lot of online work. I could do it mobile, hopefully at some point. Kind of new to it. Once I prove myself and they know I can do it. It's just one of those cool jobs that, much like you can do from anywhere. And
you created it.
It just it's amazing.
You shut the F up and got out of the way, and even though your ass was handed to you on a platter at the end of 2020.
It was looking bleak, up to say the least. I'll tell you that, man. But
wow.
Anyways,
I know quite a few people like you, high frequency people. I'm talking high frequency people. I know several people that took a deep dive last year, not in a bad way, you know what I mean? Like in a progressive, lopping the heads of the demons, dealing with stuff. And it seemed like that their head came up for air around March, which I think really is all of us, if you get right down to it.
I agree, Todd. Very much. And
so you came out of 2021, you get a job, you're working with young kids, which has got to be
not young kids. No, this would be again, it's a private college, so it's there'd be students coming out of high school, but the majority are actually people that are they've been around the block. They really have gotten, it's kind of that crew that says, screw this fucking job. I want to live my dream. Why did I love doing this as a younger person and never did it? Now I can do it. And it's very, it's accelerated learning. They can do the programs online. There's on-ground campuses. There's one here where I work out of.
That's brilliant.
It's so cool, man, because
that is so brilliant.
It kind of gives people a path to, exploring and establishing, living their dreams. Yeah.
I just want to say, if you come across a whiz with cartoon animation, you mentioned that a second ago, and that's one of the things I've been exploring. But
3D
doesn't look like anything I want to go educate myself on. So I would love
tell me about it.
Yeah, I would love to find someone that does that, that's serious, that would like to put together some presentations.
For sure, dude. Yeah, no, I come across all types of people, and
I would love to get into something like that, like Spirit Science does on YouTube. Something where there's a consistent message told through animation.
Nice, man. No, it's definitely, I sense that'll line up, and this all seems to work together. And again, that collaboration thing we were talking about, I know you've done so much of it. Gotta say, I was a bit jealous when I was watching you last year. You were all collaborate with all these people. I was like, fuck, man, why am I sitting here alone? Yeah. But you guys are doing it, and you're still doing it, and it's just going to get better and better. So what do we do? Well, really, again, just run with it, man. This is it. It happened. There's no going back. As far as what, I give an analogy of maybe like being outside of a fish tank and you're looking in to, let's call it 4D. I don't even believe 3D exists anymore, but even 4D is a bit messed up. Yeah. But that's the stuff we see out there that's maybe not exactly cool, but it's not in our personal bubble. And of course, I don't think many that are watching this would watch anything on the TV to begin with, but even just all we can really do is judge it by our personal experience, I feel, when we're out there. But there's definitely, that multidimensional aspect where we seem to be able to navigate in and out of various column timelines, overlays, and that's all cool. For me, it's just literally just staying anchored so much in that heart, mind balance, no thought, and as high a frequency as possible. And it's just been amazing. I love it. And then, of course, the time perception changes, and it's, weeks seem like days, months seem like a week. It's like, whoa, and the flow,
it works both ways.
Everything. And you're right, Todd, with absolutely. I know everybody knows that there's an organic, let's call it organic matrix, because matrix isn't a bad word. It's just, there is an organic unified field, and call it God, source, whatever you want. It's a really benevolent, very much, if that is to me where New Earth is in. It's still, mechanics wise, it's very similar to that overlay of control and looshing, but there's none of that in there. There's, it's freedom, it's sovereign, it's beauty, it's all it's like heaven on earth. And that's, and literally it's up to our own choices to align with that frequency wise and whatever. It's a whole lot of, I think, turning dials regarding our own consciousness and frequency to tune in there and lock into there, man, because it's fluctuating, and you got to kind of,
It's like you got to engage, because we know this, where your energy goes, your what is it? Where your focus goes, your energy flows, whatever the sayings are. But we were talking about this because it's really been different in June, and let's say the last 35 days, ever since I got back from Soulogy Fest, and everyone's pretty much
that had to be a hoot, man. Right?
Oh my God, that was part of, I think, the anchoring around the world. And there were many things happening. I mean, we talked about this all over the world at the same time. That particular time period seemed to be like the beginning of the integration of whatever the hell happened in May. But anyway, people, they were, I forget now what I was going to say, but what were you talking about? Time, space? No. Can't remember.
Well, that perception, maybe with the frequency of perception of time, and and where we give our focus. Like, so we had such a perfect example. I'm not going to bring this up again because I brought it up like 6 times, but people are still viewing the video. So I get on. I'm going to get on with this lady, Amanda Smith. I met her in Sedona. I meet her in the studio, and her voice is doing some weird stuff. Right.
And it sounds like a technical glitch. And I go to tell her, hey, go out and come back in, which she did do, by the way. And this was after 29 minutes of trying to get on with all this other weird tech stuff happening. Now, there's a part of me that knew, hey, whenever this happens, there's always a great show. Something big's going on. Tones are going off in my ear. Then I'm told, don't do that. Just push live. So we push live, and for 30 minutes, she's talking. We're having a conversation. At a human level, you can't understand a damn thing she's saying, but something's happening with all the frequencies and the entire vibrational projection of what's occurring through everyone that's involved.
Right.
And so this view, and I've done obviously a lot of videos that normally someone like this who's not been on before, it hasn't been, doesn't have really a presence. Usually I might get, 300-400 views in the first, few hours on all the platforms, right? Combined. Well, this one went like into the thousands, and and I was wondering how did that happen? Because I haven't promoted it, but it's all through like this energetic, physical and non-physical word of mouth. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because I was told to put it on, and then I was, I guess, told just say whatever you think is happening or channel or whatever the case is. And it was basically, look, this is an example where we're actually engaging a physical representation of what's happened in the energetic field. We're actually working with the energy. It has a physical, its form. And this is just one example. So all these people attached to what you might call an imagination frequency, but this is the real deal. This is what you referred to at the beginning when you were talking about, and really the whole chess match with the archonic type frequencies, where presentation, distortion, and then we've got to hone our discernment and figure out, where's the truth thread in there, because it's always there. Case in point would be a sacred text like the Bible. It gets manipulated, but you can't take that thread of truth out of it and anything else, really. I mean, it's always there to be found. But so
it's definitely absolutely, Todd. It's what you brought up with the Bible, and that I've never been a religious person, and thankfully,
me either.
It's just, but I definitely believe there's some really good stuff in there, and it seems to be again, frequency wise, and the more wisdom you may gather through your journey, you read things differently, and but for me it's a guidebook to, I very much reference a lot of the little sayings and put the twist on it. Faith the size of a mustard seed, many mansions. Many mansions are the dimensional overlays that we can align with.
Exactly.
It's very much a book about ascension, and and you're right. It has been twisted. It is tricky to pull the threads of truth out of it, depending how you're reading it. And definitely there, with that thing, there's no worship required. There's nothing like that. They got it all backwards, man. It's like, you're the one. You're the one.
As soon as they called God a man, everything was already flipping.
Oh, well, no doubt.
Now, a lot of people. There's a lot of people coming out, right? Energetically, different ways and means, and it could be just someone who's very private and who's standing up. Or coming out with family or friends or spouse or whatever. But you're that's what it feels like to me. It feels like Neil's coming out. Like sure. Neil's.
Well, I appreciate that, dude.
No, that's what I mean. It feels like, and my question is, because I know that's a result of what occurred in 2020 and through 2021, obviously the whole thing, but like I can just feel your energy, like you're coming out balanced, ready, in your expanding power and truth and love and courage. And I think there's a lot of people doing that.
I agree with you. A lot of people are. Yeah.
Where are you coming from? What's brought you here? What's happening, Neil?
A whole lot of clarity, dude. A whole lot of clarity, and definitely that dragon of 2020 was a big one, and it's been around a long time. And it just about killed me. And
really,
if it didn't, and without going there, I sense it did. Was
it a physical thing in addition to emotional and mental?
Oh yeah, no, and definitely, I'll just call it a behavior that really dropped my frequency through the floor. And yeah, I'll just put it that way. You know?
Look, I'm with. I mean, it's happening.
Yeah.
You know, I've been a bit hesitant to speak about this because everybody knows pretty much that. You know, I've probably always been wide open, and some people might say a bit wild, but I've calmed down a lot over the years. But I haven't.
Nothing wrong being wild, man.
I when I left Sedonia, I stopped drinking, and it's not been a big priority for me. I'm more sensitive to the thoughts that are in my field when I partake in anything, be it a person.
Well, that was my thing. That was my thing.
Okay, so that's what it was. Okay,
yeah.
So, and I want to talk to you about this because I talked a little bit about this last week, but I went through a period last week, and actually the way this started was Morgan's had a whole saga since she's gone back. She's been in quarantine twice. She's had these mammoth experiences.
I've been following.
She's gone through some crazy stuff. So she's driving many hours on the road, like at this one point, 33 hours straight, basically.
Wow.
And she has this zero pointing modality that she's downloaded, right, over the years. And so as she was driving, she has this what is now her step 10 downloaded to her as she's driving. So she presented it to me. I took a look at it, and it took me into this whole situation, which isn't exactly the way that she writes it down now that I've looked at it, but it's the same energetic pattern, right? So anyway, fast forward to what we're talking about. And she left about 10 days before Soulogy Fest, so I really didn't acclimate with being alone or whatever you want to call it. I come back. I'm on my ass for a couple of weeks. I finally start to come out. I start juicing, and I started to notice something. I started to notice, and I never had an urge to get a drink, like go get a beer or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm still smoking cigarettes. I smoke weed.
What up?
I don't do it on camera, but I smoke weed. That's cool. I used to, but I smoke weed, and that seems like whatever that is, right? Sex, drug, rock and roll. Okay, there's a point to this. I really want to hear what you got to say.
Oh, for sure.
So what happened to me, and this is a little bit trippy, and I don't mind talking about it to everybody, because I want to dive into this, because I think we've over-labeled even what we call addictions, because it's much bigger than that. It's distraction, and it can happen in so many ways. And this is what happened to me. So I'm sitting here, and now I'm alone, and talk to Morgan a couple times a day, and she's going through her stuff. I'm going through my, and I'm sitting here going, what do you do now? Because I'm, like, let's get to work. No, you're not going to get to work. You're going to lay on the couch and you're going to stare at the ceiling because we got stuff we need to. So now I'm sitting there and I'm trying to watch a movie. I said this before. 100 hours I'm on the couch. 25 hours I'm watching a movie. 25 hours I'm just flipping, constant flipping, like mental masturbation. Nice. And the other 50% of the time, I'm just sitting on the couch staring at the ceiling, but not without expanded awareness. This is all just happened. That's why I said it's kind of like cruise control. So I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, I want a cigarette. And I'm thinking, I'm going to have to go outside and smoke a cigarette. Why do you want a cigarette? What is it? And all these questions. So then, okay, I'm not going to smoke today. I'm going to go get some mints. Yeah. So then I'm sitting on the couch and I find myself get up off the couch and walk to the refrigerator. Now I want to eat something. Now I've got all these vegetables and fruits. I don't have anything to eat in the refrigerator unless I want to make some more juice. And I'm like, okay, wait a minute. It's not about, and I went through all her chocolate that she had left.
Of course.
So there was nothing left. And so I'm going, okay, so what are you doing? Why are you doing this? And then I started to realize, to go, okay, wait a minute. What have been addictions? Sex, drugs, rock and roll. I mean, I had my time with drugs. I'm talking real drugs. I don't consider weed a drug. I no longer use plant medicine. Weed's the only thing, right?
Yeah.
And I can feel that going away, by the way. And then, and I'm looking at, okay, sex. I've had my moments. I've done a lot of work there. But what ended up happening is I ended up going into each one of these things, the ones that I could call off the spot, which would be like like sex, drugs, nicotine, alcohol, even on your phone, just, being on, whatever, right? And I basically swam
That's
in the,
why I have one of these.
what is it?
Call me on my
Oh,
flip
I got you.
phone.
Yeah. That's how I started Soulogy. On one of those. That's a, but
Anyways, yeah.
so what happened was, I immersed myself in each one of those consciousnesses. And the interesting thing was, I went into nicotine, I went into tobacco, and I just had this whole thing from how it's sacred to the misuses or whatever. When I got to sex, when I got to programs, I'm looking for programs that are unconscious. I started to think about masturbation, pornography, and so on, right? And I stayed in these energies, and I just stayed with them. I didn't repel them. I didn't resist them. I actually stayed. What is this? For instance, what is this watching a porn video? What is this? What's happening here? Like, what are you getting out of it? And all of this epiphany and revelation, I can't explain, not in words, but in energetic transformation started occurring. And what happened was, I sat with these things until I could sit no more. Now I look at, for instance, pornography, I think is a good example. I went to sites. And I looked from a different lens, and I saw the level of the programs, the level of the fear and the pain. But it wasn't like, oh my God. It wasn't like that. It was just like, oh, that's what that is. Let's go to the next one. Shopping, whatever it is, right? Morgan got a download every day, but I mean, she got a download, I'm going to say about 3 or 4 weeks ago. And I remember she told me, she said, in this download, I was told that dishonesty and what we call addictive behaviors will slow down. It won't stop it, but it'll slow down the transformation. And I thought, bingo, that's the kind of boots on the ground stuff I can follow. I'm not one that can follow these easily, these long drawn out processes. I have to have something I can hang my hat on. So anyway, I just wanted to ask you about that. It was a very powerful experience. It's still ongoing. My view on things are a whole lot different. I was able to experience, and I'll be honest with you, and I'll cut it off here, but I was able to go to I went through a period, and funny enough, it happened when I woke up. Right as I was going into my wake up on May 30th, 2011, I'd say in the preceding weeks, it wasn't long, 2-3 months. Now I'm 49 years old. I started getting into the dance scene and the underground scene in Houston, and then everything exploded. I started doing MDMA, the base component, and ecstasy. I had a lot of it. It was a part of my awakening, but it was also a part of my dark night of the soul. Now, what happened was, I was going through the grind in a huge way, and I became a slave to this drug. And when I had this drug inside of me, I did things that I never thought I would do. I did things that brought me shame and guilt. And in the middle of this awakening, so I'm waking up in the mornings, the old saying, you wake up in the morning, you're like, holy shit, what the fuck did I do last night? But you're also woke up and going, okay, I got to put that shit behind me. So it was a very, very interesting path that I took. But my point is this is one of the things that I got to, which means that it must mean it's available in the field for everybody. As the individual goes, so goes the collective. So I was able to go to the most decrepit experiences in my life, which really occurred in this 2-year period. And I was able to sit with each one of those
Cool.
without any PTSD, without any reflex, without anything, but just to see it for the code and the wisdom that it represented.
Right.
And in that moment, at some point, I realized, okay, I'm not releasing shit. I'm not separating from nothing. I'm actually taking what is part of my multidimensionality, possibly the most important part. Okay. And I am taking a period of time where I was holding the hand of angels every day, having divine episodes with apparitions. And at night, I was running with the devil, big time. And I was neat. Okay. So I'm able to sit with each one of these experiences at the darkest, grimiest level. And I was like, wow. The peoples went away. The labels of the drug, the physical representations of the energy all went away. Yeah. And then I started to apply it to child abuse, child trafficking, sex trafficking, all these things in this world that are so fucked up.
Right.
And I started to apply it to that and play with it, and I got the same result. But I found that this internal work, which again was precipitated by her, the information she gave me, which I'm still working with, by the way. And
Goddess has a whole lot of wisdom to share.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. So anyway, it was actually not it allowed me to cross a threshold to introduce me to a deeper level of this self revelation, which is, I believe, what she's come up with. And but that was just like, I mean, I'm sitting here talking about it now. I'm sweating like a dog. I'm like, my body's just
cool. Well, basically,
my body's just like going, yay.
Yeah, cool.
Like I can see the hands of the cells. Looks like a rock concert. They're all hands in the air. But thank you for letting me share that. I didn't know that's what you released. And I'll just make one comment on that, and I'm handing it back to you.
Oh, for sure.
I try not to get caught up, because I think everybody definitely has their own path. One man's addiction may be another man's alchemy at times in his life or her life. Who knows how it works? But the bottom line, I will tell you this. The one thing I have noticed very much so, and this has not actually just happened since I stopped June the 7th, but even on the way to the party, the last fucking thing that you need to do, okay, when you're in the middle of the shit, is to drink. Because, and I'm talking, let's say 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, I could easily go two six packs and a pint of whiskey, right? But what I found was when our wheels are turning and then you start to drink, what ends up happening is you make a little a mountain out of a little morsel. And not only that, but you begin to think for other people. Your perception gets skewed. And I will say this, things have changed. What works back then may not work now, but I will say that I would see that most likely as a tool of the distortion. So does it have a place? Don't ask me. Am I ever going to do it? I don't know. But I will tell you this, my relationship with alcohol has taken on a new, like everything else, has taken on a new level of consciousness, respect, honor, love, all that stuff. But I understand, and my body's telling me, even if you want to, you can't. Kind of thing. I'm like, okay.
There you go. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no.
So cool. That was a big deal for you. Did it?
Yeah,
was it a
no.
struggle? Was it a struggle?
No, not really. No, yeah. I wouldn't say that. I just wanted to kind of again build on what you were saying, Todd, about what all this inner work and going into all these. Again, everyone's got varying degrees of let's call it baggage or experiences. And that is definitely part of that work. You mentioned with Morgan and with the zero pointing, for me, a whole Pono was very good early on, and still use it if required. But I really, just, and a lot of people are sharing now, like, we're really gathering up our fragments, our soul, our aspects. And this is what you were doing with all of that. They need to be loved. They need to be acknowledged. They don't need to be said, get the fuck out of here and don't come back. They need to be brought in. And that's, what you said regarding you're not releasing anything. You're actually integrating. And that is much what we are doing. We are integrating all soul fragments, aspects, good, bad, ugly, beautiful, and healing that and integrating. And that brings a person's, again, light body. There's so many, again, it's all metaphors when you start talking this. It's, aspects of that light body, our multidimensionality. We need to be whole to hold more frequency. And very much this all is built together, that clearing, that inner work. It's all about clearing and maximizing our frequency resonance and maintaining it and stabilizing, and very much what you mentioned with the, drinking whatever to a certain level. Like I didn't have an off switch, so I'll just say that. So six pack and a pint of whiskey. Okay, let's start.
If it's
and we
in
just
the house,
continue for days and days and weeks
and
weeks, and But anyways, it was more so. That was the one. I'll just call it the one fragment I feel was very much wanting to be loved, and it took a whole lot.
Yeah.
Because I didn't like it. I was embarrassed, whatever, and it wasn't, it's kind of been a reoccurring thing for a number of years, through my life. And that's what, again, with this whole Pono thing, I used to share and will again. It's just, it very much, I reckon, there's the method of it, but what really stood out was these reoccurring patterns in our life.
Exactly.
And what was that pointing to? What could I label that? One was I had an abandonment issues through my life, and they related to, some relationships when I was younger. I get a bit clingy and jealous and whatever, and I'd end up getting dumped, and I felt like shit, and it really broke me up, and it wasn't, I never was a player. I was always very much, any relationship I was in, for the most part, was very loving and very much a, one-on-one. There was no, what I mean? It was serious. No, however immature at the time, relationships aren't that way anymore at all. But anyways, that, and maybe losing jobs where I was very much, working really hard. Everything was going really well. And they say, well, sorry, bud, things aren't working out. I thought, holy fuck, where'd that come from? I felt abandoned. I was like, well, where are the, so
the same energy kept presenting itself.
Yes, in different faces, different, and everybody's different. And
this is. Yeah. Go ahead. Keep going. Keep going. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Sure,
there was a lag.
Yeah. No worries at all, Todd. And with the addictions, let's say, there's multiple. I feel reasons for it. One would be distraction. One would be numbing. Another would be self-medication. One would be self-destructive tendencies. That's a big one. I think that was probably my thing with it. It was just, and that was the big demon that I needed to slay. Is holy, yeah. Okay. Well, ultimately, when you are, in that state of addiction that you can't stop, and it's, it's really
that's
self-destructive, right?
For me, and this is interesting that you're talking about this, because this was what was going through my head. I was being shown that at the end of the day, it's all distraction. And one of the, Todd's an open book, so look, I'm 59 years old.
You're 49.
I don't
fit it.
I don't masturbate, you know.
Oh, come on now.
I mean once in a blue moon, whatever.
Too much information, dude.
But what I was getting at was because I was looking at masturbation. I was looking at pornography. I was looking at drinking. I was looking at drugs.
Right.
I was looking at all the threads that were connected. And so when I went through the journey of masturbation, I went obviously back to when I was a kid looking at my dad's Penthouse magazine.
Sure.
So I went through this evolution of the adolescent, the curiosity, the discovery, the self-love, the energetics, the sacred sexuality, you know, and then it started, I saw where it went. But one of the things I was shown was how masturbation was the same thing. Once I got past, let's say, the initial discovery and it was no longer novel, and I became entrenched in the matrix, it became a distraction. And I kept going back to a scene. I'm on the couch. Now, this was happening, but it was in my head. You're laying on the couch, you get up, you go have a cigarette. You're laying on the couch, you get up, you go have a beer. You're laying on the couch, you go masturbate. You lay on the couch. So it was like the couch was representing my space, my womb, my alchemical laboratory. And every time I wanted to go, and that's why I said I had this thing. I go, why am I standing up? Why am I? Because now I'd run out of food. There wasn't anything else. I'm thinking you're getting up because you are looking to distract yourself. Go lay down again. So it was
boredom,
amazing.
I guess.
Yeah. But what I was going to say, I got to the point where you did was where, and boredom is what? Distraction. How can I be bored with myself? Right. So it all kept going back to the same thing. But one of the things I did notice, because I went deep into, particularly went into, let's say, synthetic drugs. And I went into that and I said, well, there's a point where it's not even distraction anymore. It's actually a compelling, it's overpowered you.
Right.
Don't show me a bottle of Adderall. Don't show me a hit of ecstasy. And I kind of made my peace. I began making my peace in Sedona with these things.
Nice.
And so and that again was like cruise control. Like, so I brought it up earlier. Do you feel like that there's some cruise control to this?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, whatever analogies of, we're literally picking the small weeds at this point. It's just little,
isn't that
things,
the truth?
Things that remain, and it's so straightforward and clear, and it's not to again be arrogant or cocky or anything like that. It's just it's once you're gone through that deep stuff, and this is, I know for many, you and me, and tons of people have gone through a whole lot of deep diving for many years, and at that point, you would hope that all that would remain would be little weeds, and maybe the one big honking one in the middle that you just been hacking away at it for a long time, and then finally
people talk a lot about fear-based programming, savior-based programming, but isn't it really victim consciousness? Isn't really, can everything be brought down to what I say, what I think? Somebody, it may not be me, but somebody's a victim. And as long as that's happening, it sounds horrible, like, oh, you're a bad person. You're making a comment about whatever, and Joe Biden or whatever the case is. But I'm starting to understand how deep that runs. It's it's like two different programs. One program is what we're used to, let's call it victim consciousness. Let's say that's the inverted matrix that's still running based on what we perpetuate. But what's the other one?
I would say sovereignty and taking responsibility for every experience that you have. However, there is, again, that at least in my feelings, and I will be difficult to change my feelings on this, intuition and discernment, but there was a purposeful reason for that overlay, and it was to loosh. It was to loosh, and that's what's been going on for a long time. And whatever, Jesus, many people, souls, they came to say, hey, this is how you get out. This is how I got out. So you can do the same. And it's a choice. So regarding the behavior of, obviously victim consciousness and perpetrator and that whole archetype thing and rescuer, those three dynamics,
White
very
knight.
much. Yeah.
The
those,
white knight. Yeah.
Yeah. Those are programs for sure. And archetypes, and generally seem to feed into that, keeping in that frequency range. It's that's what I, over time, I really look forward to just really coming out with some full range on what it means to clear and create high frequency, internal frequency, resonance, and what that all means and what's all involved. And it's a lot. It is a lot. It's not overly complicated, but it's a lot because it's coming from all angles. And, again, it seems to be, it's very much a rewiring of our consciousness, that balancing that duality, which is representative of our two hemispheres, the balancing of our masculine and feminine, that interface with our heart, which is, to me, it's more like the brain, and these are lobes of the brain, and it seems to silence everything up here. So now you're living from feeling and intuition and knowing, and it is that space where because again, the reflective aspect of whether it's in the matrix or in the organic field is very much going to be reflective of that frequency in those, so if you're not having thoughts, well, guess what? You're having feelings. You're very much in control of what's being presented out there to you. But when you're in your head, man, holy fuck, it can get really chaotic.
It's like becoming a walking meditation, right?
Exactly.
It's almost like, let's just say it,
yeah.
Right. Let's just say in the normal, let's just say in the average person's life, whatever form it may be, that they have, let's say, 2 hours of meditation a day. Maybe they jog, maybe they play music, whatever. Yeah. It's almost like it's being reversed. Like our imbalanced moments are becoming the minority, and the constant meditation becoming the norm.
I'm very fortunate in that and again, not to brag or nothing like that. It's just, I'm in it 24/7. Yeah. That's the place to be.
Yeah.
And you can anchor there hard in it. Yeah. There's stuff that
do you get triggered now, or what happens when you get triggered now?
Well, it just seems, and it's always been there, because it's almost like a redo here. It very much, there's a space there that, again, if you're in that space of silence and no thought, any trigger that comes your way, there's a space before you engage or react. You can respond and you can say, I see that. And again, not to keep going back to the Matrix thing or references to it, there's a whole lot of Smiths out there, Agent Smiths. And what they do is they try to pick your ass to bring you into your head to lower your frequency. I call them Smiths. I say right to your face, don't be a Smith, it's like, wow.
What do you think about that? So now there's three credible places I would point to. And I respect everybody's reality, but you mentioned it earlier. I just want to go back to it.
Sure.
So Dolores Cannon talked about the cutout people, background people.
Yeah.
I believe Edgar Casey spoke the same. Franco's intel is the same. That's somewhere between 60 to 70% are actually extras, which means. And I'm not saying this is gospel. I'm just saying, what are your thoughts on that? Because when I think about that, and I know not to attach to anything too much, it makes a lot of sense to me that 1/4, 30%, 35% are actually in the game. And when I look at that, it changes the dynamics totally.
Huge.
Like
Yeah.
I've always felt, for instance, that a small minority can shift it all. I believe one soul can.
Mm-hmm.
Look at Jesus. But to be like I've been feeling and asking people, it sure seems like there's a lot more people woke than we think, kind
Mm-hmm.
of thing. But anyway, what are your thoughts on
no,
that?
for sure. Yeah,
What are your thoughts on
absolutely. Yeah, for sure, dude. No, I appreciate you bringing that up because it's, yeah, I don't know the percentage. All I do know is there's a whole lot less players in the game now, it seems. But I can see them. You can see the sparkle in their eye, and they're smiling because they're not wearing one of those stupid masks. And a lot of places that it hasn't been there for a long time. Anyways, but
you can see it in the eyes.
Oh, huge! There's the aura, and it's just like, they're real, and it's not to judge. It's just
I know.
A lot of times it's like the let's call them placeholders. I just call them placeholders because to have some sort of feeling of normalcy, like who's going to drive the buses, who's going to do this, do that. It's like it's almost like these characters in this video game need to be there to somewhat keep it operational, And
have you experienced glitches this year?
Oh, all the time, dude. Yeah. No, I love glitches. They're on. Funny. Yeah. Oh, fuck yeah. No, they
seem to happen in spurts too.
Oh yeah, man. No, it's it's so cool, and I love it when especially usually talking about something really important. Of course, the sirens start up or something goes a little haywire.
I know it's like each one of them is a coincidence, but you add them all together. Like I'll give you a quick example. I'm going to Soulogy Fest.
Right.
I'm told you need to take this Anubis statue with
That's
you.
cool, man.
I don't carry things with me. And then I was told, and bring your 12 dragons. And I'm like, okay. So the first night I stop in Oklahoma at this little RV park. As soon as I open the bus door, I hear all these coyotes going off.
I remember hearing about that.
That's a coincidence. But if you look at the whole step-by-step progression of any of our efforts in the last, especially this year, it's speaking to you every step of the way. And
very symbolic. Yeah, very symbolic. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, being tuned into that subtlety and that being again in that moment, you're in that presence. You're able to pick up on these subtleties and just call them signs that are very much connected, and they're trying to give you a message. And I'll give you a funny one. Just the other night, where I'm at here, I have a nice backyard. It's that way. I was going to turn this around, but it was too bright. I looked like I was just a shadow. So,
by the way, I gotta say, you look absolutely fantastic.
Oh, dude, thanks.
You look really, really, really.
So do you. You look great too, man. Everybody's looking amazing.
I'm losing all my hair.
No.
It's falling out clumps. I kid you not.
You're just molting, man. Everything.
It must be. It must be.
Yeah, no, it's definitely something to that light body thing, and we are definitely able to select our avatar and very much our age and body style and whatever we choose.
Have you? I know I'm getting off subject, but I've always had such. I don't know. Like, I just realized you had sent me some messages. I didn't even see them. Like, you're like, there's nothing has to be said. It's weird, this connection I have with you, and some people like you, but
hey, Todd, I love you, dude. If you didn't know it.
Oh, I know. I mean, no, I know. So I'm saying,
and Morgan and so many others. I want to
jump into your head because I get you. God. Anyway, I forgot what I was going to say. Keep going.
Oh, no worries.
He'll come back.
What was I saying? Oh yeah, regarding that. Thank you so much. Yeah, I've been really trying to get back that 10 years that kind of crept up on me. So whatever, I'm going to go, whatever, 40 and maintain that. That's not to be anything other than, thank you very much. As far as, I guess talking about, again, the symbology, I was going to tell you this little story about this little gazebo I'm sitting in right now out in the backyard, and it's great. It's perfect. Nice roof on it. And I have my laptop out wired up. I run an extension cord. I'm out here like all the time other than when I'm sleeping or eating or whatever. And it's so nice. Birds are out here. I get up stupid early, like 4 or 5 in the morning. I just like it because it's so quiet and the birds. Anyways, one morning, we have a rent-a-cat. Is one of the neighbors' cats here, little Siamese one. I call him Smokey, and he's spoiled rotten. We feed him treats all the time, and he's just got us wrapped around his paw. But anyways, I see this tail go by, or just a movement to the side here, and I thought it was a cat, and all of a sudden this little skunk pops out, and it's like a small one, a baby, and I, what the fuck? They kind of startled me. I'm not afraid of them, but I startled, like, okay, I don't really need to be sprayed. I've got to go to work in a few hours. And anyways, he starts wandering in here and goes under the barbecue and starts doing the perimeter. So I said, okay, I'm going to make my escape here. And I went in the house for a bit. I come out, left the door open a little bit, and I came back in. The gazebo was gone, so I went back to close the door. And he pops out of the bush, and then he walks in the house. And I was like, whoa, okay, now this is getting weird. And he turned around, and we startled each other a bit. He just took off. But I looked up skunk medicine, what that meant. And I know you look, for the coyotes and what that means. And there's very much good messages in that totem medicine. And for skunk, it just happened to be, well, you can get respect, or maybe like come out without being an asshole or using your ego.
Wow.
And that was the message. And I said,
wow.
Yeah, you're right. And that, thank you.
Well, that's part of our, God, I don't even want to, this whole masculine feminine thing is so tricky, right? I mean, so what I'm going to say is a program that that's found more in men, but it definitely can run in anyone. And that's exactly what you're describing. It's like this, it's like the good intentions that pave the road to hell type of frequency in the masculine. There's a power in the force, which is it's precipitated by the devotion and the loyalty. Now, these are words that are taking on different definitions, if not falling away. But yeah, I can see that the wisdom of that, because it's almost like as I was getting ripped to pieces, this is through the same, period you're talking about, right? I'm talking about these identities as a man, right? And all these, and the powerful moments. But there was always something to me that said, hey, part of that's going to stay with you. There's a part of that's just shadowed and it's obstructed and impeded, but it's going to shine. And so, yeah, I just want to say that, because I just want to say it's okay. It was okay for me. It's okay for you. It's okay for everybody. Like, these are programs. Mm-hmm. There's nothing personal behind it. Like you said earlier, this is a personal thing, but it's not about anyone else's personal. It's just about my own personal. Right. And this is where I think we're having a lot of progress on shame, externalization, blame, guilt, projection. There is no victim. And like you said, with your whole thing in the last, year and a half now, you created, for instance, like that job. You created that. That was a byproduct of your work. Right. And
so was the shit that I went through during 2020.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that bad, but it was that bad. It was, if I had to choose between the two, I know which one I'd pick. But it's definitely taking responsibility for absolutely everything that we experience. And that, of course, negates any victim consciousness, because really, when you're at a point of knowing, then they're victim. It is you, it's all you. But again, there is that fine line of, if you're unaware, of the tools. And there are whatever you want to call them, archons, entities that require loosh because they're not connected to source.
That's how they feed.
Exactly.
And I love what you said at the very beginning of the show when you said, because I can't remember everything. I remember the energy, but you mentioned, we talked about AI, and I know we had talked about that before and gone back and forth. But at the beginning of the show, this is basically what you said. You said, that stuff is there. Don't turn your back on it. Don't act like it's not, because that's really just a form of resistance, which means you're actually, but you're bigger than that.
Yeah.
That's a message I got.
You can definitely look at it and acknowledge it and not be triggered by it into polarity, which again is very much, I know, a number of people brought that into the duality, the polarity, that just literally feeds you back into that matrix and lowers your frequency. The non-polarity is huge, but you still can observe it once you get to a certain point and say, no, that's not exactly cool, without being in a place of judgment. It's just saying, okay, no. And really what it seems to be in many respects is exiting that lower whatever experience of a loosh machine, which again is naturally collapsing. We see it, which is really cool. But also, for those that maybe want to say, okay, press the off button on it so it can it's because it's really just a machine, boop, off, and then go feed on yourselves.
Or turn on the on. If they want to turn on the on button, they can. Right.
Well, sure. Absolutely.
Maybe this is part of like what you're talking about. People going to another station. Do you feel like that? Another way to say it, I think, too, what you're saying is, so there is the element of dominion of self, the free will and so on and so on. But does it feel like, I'll just do like a little visual, like, so we're doing this, right? And there isn't a kind of a vertical to it, right? And the floor is going up while it's happening. Slowly, the floor is going up. So in other words, the lower collective experience has a floor that was higher than it was.
Absolutely, Todd. Yeah.
And so maybe that's some of that cruise control I'm feeling.
Yeah. No, I'm really glad you brought that up because it really brings in a pivot of where I think we're at. I sense that we really have the opportunity to be in those. We need to kind of somewhat differentiate between timelines or frequency lines. And so let's say the 5D range, they're very much an opportunity. Many are there already. I know that people that we know through Facebook and probably in real life, that are in our actual physical vicinity. And I got to say, in real life, people I know on Facebook that I have been in touch with, like yourself and a number of people, I love you all, and you are for real in my world, because more real than anything I see in my general vicinity. And I look forward to being in your space, in sharing physical space in a really short period of time. It's all coming together. We're going to be so free to travel and meet and really be with our tribe, But I wanted to say that I sense there's that. And many people say different, Franco's got certain ways of describing it. Many people have different ways of describing it, but there's definitely going to be that new earth experience available. But I sense a large portion will be in let's call them upper 4D. It's going to be way better than it was, but it's still going to be within the framework of needing government, needing control of some sort. It's just like literally, as far as I know, in that new earth frequency, all that stuff is gone. It's just there's no need for it. So
when he talks about it, and again, this is to me a metaphoric explanation of trying to get some type of understanding that it was the 3D inverted matrix turned off. So there is a 3D organic. That was the original plan. And there's also a 5D organic. Now, neither one of them is, it's a choice. So I really resonate with what you're saying. I could see, like, I'm not saying I agree or advocate. I'm just saying, like, I think in Jason Estes is similar, that this is going to hold true to like 2035 based on everything today. Now,
me and dates.
I know. I'm the same way. I'm the same way. It's a non-linear comment. It's just
it's literally
you're identifying
blink of an eye, man.
Yeah, you're identifying two things in the field. I agree. Yeah. People have talked about the divide. I think that takes a multiplicity to it as well. But I can see where people will make the choice to choose to evolve, let's just say, at a slower pace, where they stop and smell the roses and really get the organic 3D experience. Because let's think about it. If we take everybody that's in the room, who the hell's lived a 3D organic experience? Not one of us. So now we have this choice of either going here or going there.
Well, I think most people are bored fucking silly with 3D inverted or organic.
I'm just bored, and I'm glad you brought up that thing about the distractions, the addictions, and all that, because that's one thing that I've come back to over and over and over in this period that I've been sharing with you. It's been, I'm bored. I'm bored. I want to do something. And that's kind of where I'm at. I haven't mastered it. I haven't conquered it, but I'm examining it and I'm sitting with it, but it's only been made possible by sitting with the darkest demons. And I mean, like I described earlier, like reliving the energy, not necessarily going out and doing something, but actually in my head, realigning, reassimilating, reconnecting, reintegrating with the actual energy that it brings, that it created, that it is. Man, I'm telling you,
huge work, and kudos, man. Like, that's what everybody is responsible to do if they choose to. It's the integration of our aspects or fragments, and even with the I'll just go back to the prediction of year or whatever. Well, I don't think anything's written in stone, number one.
No.
And so God bless whoever wants to put a date on it, because once you're out of linear time, there are no dates. There's no years.
Exactly.
There are references, like, we're that's one thing that definitely became a lot clearer for me since that talk we had back in August of 19. And again, there's only to use these names and numbers to do that, right? But
it's just a block of information.
Yeah, it was a moment in time, like a COVID. Yeah, this was that moment in time.
As it stands now, this is where it's like getting it's like getting a fortune. You go to a fortune teller, fortune says, "Oh, you're going to go out and do this, this, and that." Well, that may be true. She made the best one in the world, but the minute you walk out, everything changes. Everything is up for change. It is what it is today.
Absolutely. And so much again, in that aspect of high frequency being the suspension of linear time, you're in that flow. You're then in synchronistic flow, and then very much, a lot of people are talking about trusting the flow, trusting the synchronicities completely, and just going with it, following those breadcrumbs, because they always seem to lead to exactly where you're supposed to go, the people you're supposed to be with for whatever length of time. And it's all good. And that's the intelligent design behind this, I sense, organic construct or field. And it's I love it. I trust again completely. There's benevolence in that field, and it's like home. It's like, wow, back finally. And that visit to the netherworld that we had, it was required for some purpose and multiple purposes, clearing of our own shit. But I sense a whole lot of people came here to help people get out of it, help souls get out of it, and have. And I'm at the point where I know we can still do that, but definitely I think huge R&R is required and deserved. And it's still very much about people needing to follow their path and do the work to do it. And that's all cool. We brought this up before. There's no particular time limit in this. Everyone gets there at their own time, and any sort of assistance will always be there. But hey man, I'm at the point where, I'm not, oh God, I got to go out and save all these people. It's like, no, they got to save themselves. And I will do everything I can on my part to share, hopefully, what has helped me. And if it resonates with them, that hopefully
you're coming out, dude. Yeah. Well, you really are coming out, aren't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have any plans, or are you just taking it day by day?
Yeah, no, not overly. I definitely want to visit certain people. I'll put it that way. Definitely, I see this current job situation as a means to an end, and who knows, it could be something really, really, really cool long term. As far as maybe doing more stuff online, that potential's there, and I would definitely love to do that, but I would never do it like some sort of guru or whatever, or, not that anybody,
you've never been that way anyway.
Cool.
That's not your style. I'm just looking at where Calgary is. Oh, you're right in the central.
It's in the west, right near the mountain.
You're due north of Vegas.
Pretty much. Yeah, due north is Phoenix. And, yeah. And it's right on the Rocky Mountain. It's kind of it's like Denver, but in Canada.
Looks pretty cool.
It's beautiful, man. It's amazing, beautiful city, very modern, and the mountains are very, very close. There's a portal, Michael Vortex out near Lake Louise, and that radiates out to Calgary. I love the city. I lived here all my life, but I'm definitely ready to do some traveling, and visiting cool people like yourself and Morgan and everybody else, and let's get together. And I just really see everything transpiring now, Todd. And there, who knows? There might be some distractions put out there into the field, but as far as I sense the whatever you want to call it, the actors in the play that are trying to keep people's watching it are going to do their final act, hopefully, and the big and just dun, 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 curtain goes down, and okay, bye. Yeah, thanks for the show, because it's really just literally being it's like a fucking, I don't know what now. It's beyond nobody's paying attention. At least I,
that's what I'm saying. That's what's crazy, is because you look at it and you're just going, what?
What?
Like, I mean, I'm apolitical. I'm apolitical. I don't really Trump, Biden, whatever. But to see the level of cognitive, or lack thereof. This is the president of the United States in this movie. Mm-hmm. And I don't care if you are the retired lady that lives on the south side of Chicago, 80 years old, lives alone, watching the news at night, or you're some patriot, so to speak, spreading the truth all over YouTube.
Yeah.
It's just not sticking, man. You can't tell me. You can't tell me that this person has any power. They can't even.
Well,
You know what I mean?
yeah, no,
So this is a reflection of the whole thing.
yeah,
This
no,
is a
it's
fault.
so
This
bad,
is
it's good. Yeah,
yeah.
it's
Well, it's the same thing as what I might refer to as a false flag frequency. It's an illusion being presented in front of your face, insulting your intelligence, and you can either get radical in the sense of resistance, attachment, because they all go together, right? Or you can say, "Fuck this! I'm going to work on me." Right? This is the vehicle. The vehicle is for me to silence or bring stillness or align with stillness and then hear myself. And then it all just extrapolates into my interactions and into the grid, the holy grid. You know,
Absolutely.
like what? Neil, all I got to do is just be Todd and you just be Neil. Okay. Be responsible,
Authentic.
conscious creators.
Yeah.
Responsible, knowing that if I walk away and I say he's an asshole, well, guess what? I just put into the field that you may or may not pick up on it. You may or may not become that, but so it's responsible are your thoughts. That's why if anything makes you feel off, if I was telling you about that process I went through, and I pulled up and I put in, because I have had past memory many times of being raped as a child, you know. So it was very easy for me to go, okay, I'm going to go back to that energy and I'm going to be that child. And then I went back, I'm going to be that energy. I'm going to be the perpetrator.
Wow.
Now that sounds pretty, but when I went into the perpetrator, guess what happened? I went into the perpetrator. What happened to the perpetrator? See, I started to see everything that brought that experience together. This is like deep diving, it's almost like it's like you said earlier, we've done a lot of work. So I picture like we go into the ocean, it's very dark, the darker you go, and all of a sudden we see this golden white light on the floor of the ocean. And you swim down there, and here's the gold. Absolutely. Here's the fruits of our labor. Here's what we're reaping now. You know?
No, absolutely, Todd. It's again, that work it's required, and everybody's got varying degrees of going deep. You know, some people haven't had a whole lot of stuff, and it's very much important to be able to share those tools, you know, with everyone, you know. And again, regarding why don't we get into the abundance thing, you know? As far as I know, that's all coming online. There's going to be various versions of it. There'll be the 4D version, and that's wonderful, you know, whatever they'll call it, Jacera and Nasera. And it might be, you know, I have a friend who's involved with that kind of stuff, not so much the Nasera, Jacera, but funding and you know, more. I'll just call it 4D, and that's fine. That's cool. That is required. It's going to be very much better than it has been. But then there's another level to it where it's literally our energy that we put out it comes in. That
is the currency, right?
That is the currency, and it will that system of whatever you want to call it, exchange will be naturally developed and in place, and it's literally, I don't sense anyone's going to have to worry about abundance at some point very soon. But I really feel there is, what like you said, you know, what Franco said with the 3D organic and the 5D, you can just as easily say 5D and the 4D. It's the same thing, you know. It's just not.
Yeah.
It's just a different term, right?
I'm with you.
You know, it's just like, okay, you're not quite ready to get out of that altogether. You're kind of like it there. There's some fascination with that. So that's cool, you know.
That's exactly right. I got that last week too when this was happening. I actually saw where it's okay. It's okay for me to choose this mix of 3D, 5D, let's just say.
Yeah.
Let's say that I'm at an 80-20, you know, or you know what I mean? Like, it's okay. If I want to spend the rest, let's say that I decide, you know what, I can't do this anymore. And I'm being honest with you. I said it earlier. I'm sitting here questioning what I do. Like, and this is all great because we're all questioning everything. Right. And so maybe I wake up tomorrow and I go, you know what? I am going to do 3 meals a day. My favorite breakfast at Waffle House, whatever I want at lunch, and whatever I want at dinner. 2 6-packs, a pint of whiskey, and a bag of weed, a fishing pole, and this is how I'm going to spend my days.
Right.
Like, whatever it is, you know, I'm being facetious, but I'm just trying to say it's okay. And here's the other thing: everything is being looked at. Everything is changing. Let's take, for instance, the word abundance. I notice how, because I've used that word a lot and I've chased it a long time. You know, I've worked with New Energy, this 5D commerce, and I've seen a lot of positivity in my journey. But you wake up the next day and you go, none of that means anything anymore. Everything's been wiped clean. So if I use a word, I become more sensitive to what exactly is happening here. If I use the word abundance in one way, then it's the way that we intend. Abundance is everything. It's not money. It's everything. It's an energy. It's a consciousness. But if I use it another way, I'm actually perpetuating lack.
Right.
So so this is what started me on that whole thing I was telling you. It was because of what Morgan had developed in this 10th step, which was basically, and I hope she doesn't mind me sharing this, very general, but it's taking the polarities and bringing them to a point where they're one and the same. And that's not some new age cliche bullshit, but it's in a very multiple way.
Yeah.
It's in a way where even the words you use to bring yourself to this, or even the process you use to bring yourself to this, has to be brought into the process itself.
Right. No, that sounds very cool. Very.
But so this is
effective.
like, this is where everybody, I think, is what you're describing. Everybody's coming to this point of the veil is cut the bullshit.
Pretty much. Yeah, pretty much.
And just take ownership of the responsible conscious creator you can be. Absolutely. So this isn't about trusting the matrix. It's about trusting yourself, being integrity in yourself. It's these virtues of the soul that are there, that are our essence, that when they're lit up, creation just goes on cruise control. And there you go with what you said about the stillness of the mind thing.
Yeah. And they're all part and parcel of a high frequency or low frequency, what we embody, all of those, again, not to be repetitive, just, the thoughts, emotions, values, attitudes, behaviors, actions, beliefs, whatever we embody, that really, really affects our frequency, and of course polarity comes in there, and I keep going to, many people talk frequency. It's resonance, and resonance is literally, you can't help, if you're resonating at a certain level, you can't help but
it happens.
Draw a similar experience to yourself. It's just going to be that way. That's the law. That is the it's the most beautiful thing, because it really provides sovereignty, freedom, control of your own experience. No one else can influence that. One step at a time, too. We think that we can do this or do that, and we're going to leapfrog. No, I was told 10 years ago, very few things I was told, and they were not in-depth descriptions. They were just simple, profound comments. And that one was, you cannot miss a step on the soul highway.
And of course, everything takes on new meaning, but that's the truth. There's nothing that we come across in what is basically, we're like a sponge. So we have all these things presented to us, even things that make us fucking angry, right? And what is it? It's to take all of that, no matter what it is, and bring it into the same place. And I know that sounds, but I think that's from a human perspective, boots on the ground. That's what you do. You're either in or you're out. That's pretty much how it works. And maybe that's that split you're talking about.
Yeah, no, it takes a whole lot of courage to do that work, and dedication and belief in that it works, and just again, for what it's worth, I just sense that not everybody's ready to do that. It's and that's okay. That is okay. That is okay. It's just, but for those that are and have, there was a reason for it, and it wasn't just for themselves. It was to help, to basically, through trial and error and hard work and remembering, to get to the point of providing a bit of a roadmap to hopefully share with folks that would maybe get some value out of it and some efficiency to, and then there's the other part. Well, don't take away that fun of doing it yourself, which is, exactly. Yeah, it's fun, but it can take a while.
Well, but here's the thing. You said something at the top of the show that energetically, this is what you said. You said, basically, somehow you said this, and I can't remember exactly how you said this, but you were basically saying, we are divinity. We are coming into this awareness. And you said something along the lines of, in essence, recognizing the magic in everybody. Yes. Allowing them to find their own way. Who the fuck are you anyway? Who am I? Who am I? I heard a lady on a talk show, and she was a cancer survivor. She was the hostess, and she had somebody on who had cancer. Yeah. And she said something extraordinary to me. She said, "Ma'am, I cannot relate to your cancer. I've had cancer, but I cannot relate to your cancer. The same cancer, same type of cancer." She said that's something I can't do. And in that moment, I started to understand, well, wow, she's a healer, just like the lady that's hosting the show's a healer. She's a mirror, right? Like give the person the reverence and the honor and the respect and love to find their own way, because they're God too, right?
Absolutely, Todd.
Yeah.
Absolutely too.
Have you had? I want to ask you, and I did not intend. I had no idea what you transitioned through last year. I didn't mean to bring that up.
No, I
don't. I mean, I'm known for asking questions sometimes, but that I maybe shouldn't go there. But
you go wherever you want.
I want. No, I really wanted.
This is like the movie Liar, Liar. None of us can lie anymore. Just, here it is.
Oh my God! Yeah, no kidding, right?
Yeah, and that's perfect.
So like I'm not talking about. I don't think alcohol is the topic here.
No,
it is a symptom. It is a point of context. What I really wanted to ask you was, because if I put myself in your shoes, there was something that went, I'm done. I'm going this way. And so it's an energetic kind of proposition to me. That the alcohol is just the physical whatever.
Yeah.
So my question is, what have you noticed? What has your experience been as a result of the transformation frequencies that you initiated, expanded, and turned on since that point?
Huge. A lot more assuredness. There was humility regarding that I sensed it was put away. I kind of whatever, just started drinking March of 2020, kind of when the COVID thing. What seems when I started drinking, everything went to hell. Sorry.
Well, here goes that thread of truth that never dies, no matter what the projection is.
Right.
So in the early days, let's say most of 2020, everything, and we're speaking in general terms, a lot of things got locked down, but liquor stores didn't.
No.
So that was an ill-intended design that actually brought forth truth. You see what I mean? It's funny how it gets flipped,
Yeah, no, with that, there's always, I think everyone can agree, there's always two sides of the coin. There is the matrix coin of that, there's a whole lot of fuckery going on with that whole thing, and there's a reason why the liquor stores are open and whatever, because it lowers people's frequency, hey, get it out there, let them, keep their frequency low. There is that, but there's also the aspect of, hey, when you're at that point that you're now aware of that, well, you make that decision, and it does allow you to, obviously to dive deep and sit with those, much like what you said, sitting with those demons, let's call it, and explore it thoroughly. And have that space and introspection. There was two sides to that whole thing, and there still is. There always is.
Yes. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, but as far as what I discovered was definitely finally getting it. And I think it was probably again a big, whatever you want to call it, a wound, something, an energy blockage, and for me, I identified it as self-destructive tendencies. Yeah. Impatience, boredom, loneliness, those factors fed into that during that time period that throughout my life have stuck their little heads up and, I can't say cause big problems, but they definitely were triggers to medicate,
What a gift.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Huge.
What a gift.
And, yeah, no, absolutely. So coming out of it was feeling like, holy crap, I finally dug. It killed me. It almost killed me, but I dug that sucker out. That big honking weed, and it had to go. And now everything just opened up. It's like, whew.
You can see it. I mean, you can see it in your physical appearance. You can see it in your countenance. You can see it in the tonality of your voice, which is the voice of your soul. You can feel it. It's not. What is that? And I never read the Bible either, by the way. It just had I had this kid come on a couple of months ago, and he read Corinthians 13 or 14. I can't remember what it was. And it's the one about love. Love is this. Love is not that. Love is this. Love doesn't draw attention. Love doesn't have to be right. Like you're showing up raw. That's what it is. Right. There's something about the raw, I keep fighting these last 2 weeks in particular, especially this last week. I do not want to fucking do this anymore. I'm tired of struggling. You just paid the rent, it's now the 10th. And it all starts over. And
it's about to change, dude. So
but you know what I mean?
There just long enough, man.
No, I know. But you know what I'm saying? You get to this point and you're going, what the fuck is the difference? What do we do now? Kind of thing. And I keep getting, look, show up, be how you are. If you're fucked, be fucked. If you're great, be great. If you're going to be off on a tangent, if you talk too much or too little, just do you. And if you do that, then that's all you need to do. And then, of course, because there's a platform involved, it becomes replicated, which has been the template of Soulogy since day one, 10 years ago. People come on and they say, hey, this happened to me. And, oh, nobody's laughing at me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Pamela Johnson says Lionsgate. Hopefully, not hopefully. I don't believe in hope, but I mean that sounds very good to me. 8-8 sounds very good.
It's here already, so
I'm gonna go
just getting better. The music's just getting faster and faster as we go. And no, it's so cool. And
are you finding?
I love Pamela dearly. She's
Pamela, dude. I met her in person.
And that's so cool.
Dude, did you hear the thing about the 6 Black Hawk helicopters?
I did. I believe me.
That was her. She was the point person of that to that point 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
She was the point of the client. She was the symbol. She was she was like the runner at the Olympics that comes and puts the torch onto the big flame.
Exactly.
She came, and I still have this picture, and I still want to put up a post about it. Her feet turned to fucking rainbows. I kid you not. I have it. I have this picture. Her feet in that moment, she came to the stage were rainbows.
Nice,
dude. That you mentioned the Soulogy Fest, and what that weekend seemed to be to me. What was being punctuated, imprinted into the world was this divine feminine, whatever energy, presence, reality that's been trying to bust through for all these years since on about 2012. And I'm so
glad you brought this up, Todd. Thanks,
dude. I saw it happen there. I saw it happen. I watched it happen. I was just like, holy shit. Yep. Now I see what Pamela and the Morgans and so on have been leading us to. And I saw a little snapshot of it, and it was beautiful, man. Everybody needs it.
For sure.
Everybody needs it. Every woman, every man, every child.
Yeah.
And it's done. The work is done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I'm so happy you brought that up because it's huge. Again, it's very much those energy of masculine, feminine are in all of us to whatever degree, and that balancing required is required. That's part of that, again, frequency wise. But definitely there comes a point where it's just literally, the goddess and is really taking charge, stepping up for a long time but really being comfortable in that role, which is so cool. And masculine in general is very much walking side by side and doing the roles that are kind of natural. And those seem to be very much, protection and support. And I'll put it in terms of energy. It seems the feminine is very much putting the code out, the geometry of the field, the inspiration, the beauty, and the masculine basically, it's not to sound whatever funny, but it is kind of fun. The masculine fills in the gaps. They fill in the light. They fill in the but that's the co-creation thing. It's just so cool. And to have that equal, thing and respect, and it's just equal love and respect for each other of the roles and the importance of each is so huge. And I've it's just beautiful to see. And I just always respected the feminine so much and a strong feminine. So now I'm seeing it everywhere. It's like, wow, this is amazing. It's just perfect.
I asked this, I don't know if you saw James Greenshield. He's been on the show several times.
No, I believe me. I see it all, man.
But I was.
He's cool. He's so in cool. Australia, and he's a neat guy, and his wife.
And it was so cool talking to him a week ago, and because he's literally lived the warrior mentality, went to war, bred that way, the whole 9 yards. And I said to him, "So, what does the warrior look like now?" And it was so cool because I don't remember the exact words, but it was along the lines of the energy of what you're talking about. And it was basically coming into this knowing this king, right? Like it's like this wisdom, the wisdom the king has, and the protective abilities that the king has, but it was in a way where less is more now. Like, I know I can see things happening. I don't need to tell the person what's happening. I just hold the space. I just fill in the blanks, fill in the gaps.
Nice.
They bring in, like you said, I like that metaphor. They bring in, I almost see like a grid. You know, on the playground, they have that dome shape.
The framework,
you climb on, and then we fill in.
Exactly.
Right? Like something like that.
No, and then ultimately you see it as very much, again, God or source as a balanced energy, but very much a goddess component too, because really that's what the field is the geometry, the framework, and the light is part of it, but definitely without that framework, that geometry, that sound, that magnetic, it would be kind of
well, you can't have one. You can't have one without the other.
Yeah,
I mean, I
sure.
wrote these words last night. I wrote, I have no power, and I look at creation as her. Right, I have no power without creation.
Absolutely.
So to me, and I know this. I'm not saying this is the gospel truth. I'm just saying this is how I kind of put everything together in my head. It's like, okay, I'm in a man's body for a reason. I like the whole thing. How do you? So I look at the feminine, the womb, right? The field of new birth and the field of new earth and new lives, new Neil, new Todd.
Yeah.
So that's creation. Creation can't create anything because creation created. But there is a creator force. And that's where the magnetic and electrical start that dance. And so it's through what I see creator is him, the doer, the builder. When he aligns with the womb, her, that's when the conception takes place, right? And he does that by what? And he can be a female form, a man. I'm just using this in terms of, but how do we get to the womb? You go through the unknown doors and you go back to that place where you know no more. And you're just, right? You're just like Play-Doh.
Yeah,
right.
It's very, very much a synergy. There's the sum is greater than the two parts. It's definitely a synergy, and there's, it's amazing, and it is so cool to see, whatever you want to call it, divine unions come together. And very much, I think it's very much open to everyone. And it's just literally two balanced souls coming into resonance and recognizing each other and very much being comfortable and a mission of their own to do what they do. And it's beautiful. It's perfect,
I saw this thing. Somebody just put up something about the sperm. What does it say? It's like the sperm having the higher knowledge of knowing how to get to an egg. Okay. I saw this thing a couple of days ago, and evidently they've figured out that the egg, because you figure, how does one sperm out of 7 million make it to the egg? Like, there's got to be some cosmic connectivity there, some serious shit going on. Well, they've traced it I'm sure it's ongoing, but they've traced now that in so many words, the egg selects.
Makes sense.
And then sends a signal to that particular sperm.
I would, without getting too crazy, I'd say it's probably like quantum entanglement.
Yeah.
Spooky action at a distance. I like you. Boom. And so that's pretty cool.
I've really enjoyed this. If you want to do this again in a couple of weeks, we can.
Oh, I'd love
I mean,
to,
I
Todd.
just want to support you coming out
Yeah.
because I really feel like there's a new face of this masculine energy that doesn't have to be unique to a man, but obviously it's going to carry more weight when you have men who've been more indoctrinated into the patriarchal in terms of the masculine distortion. When you have a physical mirror coming on to a platform like this that has been the alpha male, that has gone through the programs, that has been enslaved, that has been disempowered, to actually come out of this and go, I'm coming out now.
Mm-hmm.
And here it is, raw. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Well, I hear you, dude.
what's left.
Yeah.
So I'd love to help you do that if you're.
Oh, I would love to anytime. Absolutely. I really appreciate that. And yeah, no, it's definitely, there'll be a whole lot of folks that are just, again, still require good information, efficient methods to do this, and very much that information's available, and this platform is able to share it far and wide. And again, it does literally enter the field, you know, but it's it is so cool. And I guess I just really want to stress everything in me, my intuition is beyond that. This is happening right now, man. Like it's
no denying.
There's no dates there. You can take as long as you want, man. But you're still in time. But so it's that literally exiting time is exiting the matrix, and our internal frequency allows us to exit linear time, and then it becomes
and
immediate.
My last comment's gonna be: go easy on yourself and go easy on each other, because nobody's pain is greater. No. Nobody's experience is more important. And look, we've been hard on ourselves, but we've also been hard on each other. So we just keep in mind, you're looking at a mirror, man, and they've got the same doubts and loves and ups and downs.
Absolutely.
So I love you, man.
I got
to get to a conference in 15 minutes.
I really appreciate the extra.
Dude, we'll do it again. Yeah,
we'll absolutely do it again.
We'll just play with it. We'll play with it.
For
See
sure.
where it goes.
See you soon.
I love you.
Love you too, Todd.